I
I, Martin Ayisi,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay. So the Assurances Committee has invited you today to look at your operations. Parliament has been concerned about the state of the mining sector, and you are the foremost institution that regulates the sector. And we want to understand what the challenges are, why we are where we are, why our river bodies appear so polluted, why forest covers are being depleted because of illegal mining activities and irresponsible mining activities, as has been reported. We have also, as MPs, been to the ground. We've received reports from a number of our colleagues who are deeply worried. We have also received petitions from Ghanaians, from civil society organizations, from environmentalists, environmental activists who have petitioned this House and have asked that Parliament should be up and doing to join the collective effort that this country is engaged in to address the menace. So that is fundamentally our objective today, to try and find solutions as a nation. We are one people. And ultimately, that's what we seek to achieve. This is not a witch hunt. We are not seeking to embarrass anybody. We just want to carry out our parliamentary oversight duties and to be part of the solution to what is clearly an existential threat. The Ghana Water Company has indicated that if the trend continues in the next few years, Ghana will have to import water. Our public health practitioners have also indicated that the health hazards are now totally out of control. Babies are being born with deformities, kidney diseases on the rise, liver diseases. They are telling us that cancer is on the rise, and we have to do something as a country. We cannot allow the situation to continue. So this is the context within which we want to have today's deliberations. And by way of beginning today's proceedings, we would want you to briefly tell us about your mandate, your own appreciation of the current situation, and what do you think the focus ought to be as we all commit to finding solutions. When you are done with your preliminary remarks, we'll come to honorable members to file their questions. We'll take your responses, and that will be the format. So you are welcome once again.
And very much. And I take this exercise seriously. If you may recall, I spoke to you last night that I had to travel on official assignment, but this is equally very important, particularly looking at the timing and where we find ourselves. A quick one, I noticed one of your members actually even come from a mining community. I don't think I've met him in person, but I'm aware once he introduced himself. I'm talking about Honorable B.T. Baba. Chairman, by way of introduction, distinguished members.
Well, just to add that there's also another mining guru here, the Akwetia MP, Honorable Yadom. Yes, so
okay. Thank you very much.
We have two major mining constituencies here.
Yes. Chairman, let me say this. The Minerals Commission, fundamentally, our role is to regulate the mining sector. Regulate the mining sector broadly. Beyond that, what we also do is to formulate and recommend policies to government as far as mining is concerned. So even though ministries across the country are in charge of policies, it starts with MINCOM. The idea is that I believe the frameworks of our law, the whole idea is that we are more or less the institution on the ground. So everything comes through the Minerals Commission. Apart from that, too, when the licenses are issued by the minister, our other job is to ensure compliance and monitor. So we have a whole inspectorate division, and we scattered across practically almost the regions and districts where mining operations take place. Our duty is to go out and ensure that persons who have been issued with mineral rights, I'll talk about the various categories of mineral rights, are following the law. They are complying with the terms of the agreement. They are following all the regulations and the rules. And if not, we correct them or we exert the appropriate sanctions. The other one too is that from time to time we receive directives from minister on government policies and government directives. You know, occasionally government may change course on certain policies, so we receive same and advice. And then what we also do is also to manage the mineral resources of the country and ensure that it's properly utilized in the best interest of the country. So broadly, in short, if you look at Act 450, this is what we do. We've been in existence since 1986. Earlier on, it was an PNDC. So when the Constitution was promulgated, there's a provision which states clearly that all natural resources should be managed by commissions. So that's how come we have respectfully Forestry Commission, Water Resources Commission, Minerals Commission, Petroleum Commission. So I think after they come into force of the Constitution, the Minerals Commission Act was promulgated in, I think, 1993. But we have been in existence since 1986 under the PNDC law that was there before it was converted. So broadly, this is what we do. By way of how we operate, the head office is in Accra, Cantonment, which was formerly the head office of the then State Gold Mining Corporation, SGMC. You know, the mines used to be run by the state until we sold all of them. And then we have regional, district, and satellite offices. Honorable Chair, let me take my time to explain how those districts and regions and satellite offices are created. The district and regional offices are created not on administrative and political, regions or boundaries. We look at activities where the mining takes place. So, for example, if you take Western North, it's a whole new region. You take a place like Bibiani and Wianso Bekwai district. There are 3 major operations there. Ghana Bauxite, which has been around since 1941. You have the Bibiani mine, which was then mined by the then Ashanti, now Ashanti Gold. Close to half of that company is owned by Ghanaians. And also Chirano. Chirano is about 30 minutes from our office. Bibiani mine, actually I can see it just like the way you see Job 600. It's just 5 minutes from our office. Now, Bibiani is not the regional capital. The regional capital is Sefwiwi also. But we are beginning to see activities popping up slowly in Sefwiwi also. So what it simply means that we might create, let's say, a satellite. And with time, we elevate it to a district. And depending on the activities, we go to region. Now, where large-scale operations are bound, we create regions. So, for instance, Wa, until recently, was a district and was responsible for the whole of Upper West. But a huge mine is coming up. Construction may start perhaps at the end of the year or first quarter of next year. I'm talking about Zuma Resources. It's going to be the first large-scale mine in Upper West. So Wa is now a regional office, and we have a regional inspector of mines. But the district office also exists because there are small-scale activities there. Bolga is now a regional office, but we have a district office. Tamale is also a regional office. Savannah, which is now the new frontier, is also now a regional office. And the Savannah regional office is in Boli because most of the activities in the Savannah region, which happens to be the largest region in Ghana, takes place in the Bole, Dakupe, Tinga, and that western half of Savannah, all the way to the Ivorian border. So this, in brief, informs what goes into our district. In Volta, for example, we are in Ho, we are in Aplau, we are also in Denu. We will be expanding. Where we don't have the resources or we are building, we rent. We rent, and then once we build, and then we move out. So, for instance, we've been renting Bibiani office all along. We just moved into our new office recently, 18th. Akimodan, we've been renting. We just commissioned 5th June. So that's what we do. Bole, we are renting, but I think our office will be ready by the close of the year. So this is what determines by far region, district, and regional offices. Sometimes we even start with observatory posts just to see how activities pick up. So broadly, that is the nature of the offices that we have. The commission has 3 deputies, 1 in charge of support services, and then we have 1 in charge of industrial minerals and small scale, and also policy. Then there are basically 3 divisions. You have the inspectorate divisions that is in charge of monitoring. It's headed by the chief inspector of mines. You go through a certain certification before you can be chief inspector of mines. It's like the way the military is. You cannot just respectively become an army commander overnight. You have to be of a certain rank and go through certain process. So it's the same thing here. Staff-wise, we are almost about 400. I will give the update to Madam Jiage when I leave here, the number of the full strength in terms of inspectors and all those that we have. Typically, Honorable Chair, when we say an inspector, you know, the person comes from several backgrounds. For example, at the mine site, there are a lot of machinery. So you have a mechanical inspector. He's in charge of machinery. You have somebody who's in charge of processing plant. That's a metallurgist. Those who read metallurgical engineering or chemical engineering. You have the mining engineers proper. Some of them are trained as ventilation engineers, where we have a lot of underground mines. So we rely on persons from mechanical background, metallurgical, chemical, mineral, mining, and even now a major sought after skill, civil engineering, because we use them a lot for geotech. So, and then mineral economics, who run the models for us. So by and large, this is a structure. I started working at the Minerals Commission on 2nd April 2002, right from assistant legal officer, rising to legal senior. At a point in time, I was a board member, became deputy chief executive, and now the CEO. I've been CEO since March 2021, became substantive in October 2021. So I've been CEO ever since. That is by far the structure of the Minerals Commission. We have a board, a 9-member board, inclusive of the CEO, appointed by the president, and the CEO is in charge of the day-to-day affairs of the commission. I report to the minister practically every day and on all that goes on. So in brief, this is what we do. As respectfully members ask more questions about our mandate, I may provide more answers. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Speaking to your offices, we just want to confirm this. You know, this is the Assurances Committee. The Lands Minister, in a response to a question on the 3rd of February 2022, assured Parliament that additional offices will be opened for your commission by close of 2022. And let me quote from column 25 of the Hansard of 3rd February 2022. Mr. Speaker, one of the ways of effectively monitoring mining, particularly small-scale mining, and making the acquisition of licenses easier is decentralization. This is why the Commission has committed resources to open more offices to monitor the activities of players in the mining industry. This year, the Commission is committed to further decentralizing its services with the establishment of 2 additional regional offices in Sefwi Yoso and Takwa. and 4 satellite offices in Wasai Kropon, Dambai, Inkawie, and Bongo on Coast. Can you please confirm to the committee if this has been achieved? Oh, pardon me. Yes, so regional offices in Sechiyoso and Takwa, 2 regional offices. Has that, yeah, this was to be opened by close of 2022.
Yes.
Has that been achieved?
So we have an office in Takwa, and we have started the construction of the regional office in Takwa.
Okay.
So that has been achieved.
You have started or you have completed?
No, we have an office.
You have an
and
office.
The construction of a 5-story building has started.
Okay.
Yes. The contractor will start. The place has been handed over
to
a regional office. Takwa is now being elevated to a region.
Okay.
All this was, as we speak, until the minister made that statement on the floor of the House, it was a district. But by far, I would describe Takwa as a mining capital of Ghana. We have a huge operation. 2 of them, they're actually neighbors. Anglo-Gold Ashanti Duaprim Mine, and then Goldfields, which until recently was the largest gold mine. And then there are close to about 100,000 small-scale miners there. So we need to elevate it to a regional office. So I can confirm that construction has not been completed yet.
Okay.
Dambai, yes.
No, let's finish with the regional. So regional, you have spoken about Takwa. How about Sechiyoso?
Sechiyoso, actually the paramount chief himself offered to give us a whole building. We are discussing the terms. So that is also on course.
Okay.
Other than that, for now, we are managing it from the BNE.
Okay. So it wasn't achieved in 2022. Okay. So we didn't meet the 2022 target. It's work in progress.
Yes, that is work in progress.
Work in progress, yes. For Sechiyoso. Okay, that is fine. And then how about the satellite offices for Wasa Kropon, Dambai, Inkawie, and Bongo?
All those have been opened. Dambai is also opened.
Okay.
Actually, Dambai is just about 30 kilometers from my village.
Okay.
So that's in Oti, that's the regional capital.
Yeah.
So apart from Sechiyoso, where we are discussing the terms of the rent arrangement, all the others are functional.
Okay.
And we have offices and officers on the ground.
Okay.
The satellite reports to the district reports to the regional inspector of mines, the regional inspector of mines report directly to the chief inspector of mines.
Okay. From where you sit, will you say that you are well-resourced and well-represented in mining communities in our country?
Chair, I would say we are well-resourced. As we speak, this year alone, we are hiring about 40 more inspectors. In fact, this morning, I've just even signed letters of many of them that are that have been on contract for 1 year. So resource-wise, we are okay. There has been an aggressive attempt the last 2 years to resource us. I will explain. We were given 20 pickups sometime in April. The same year, I think Minister made those documents. I have pictures here. That's number 1. Let me also say that as we speak, we have close to about 40 inspectors studying in the finest universities across the world. 40. Some of them are in Canada, others are in US, others are in UK, some of them are in Australia. Why? Chair, we have mining companies, if you like, for want of a better word, that may even be richer than us. I'll give you one real example, and that shows why these things must happen. So take Newmont. Newmont is the biggest producer of gold in the world. They've been around for 100 years, worldwide. They came to Ghana 2003, a year before I joined the commission. I joined 2002. They came in 2003. They have 2 big mines, one in Achin, one in Ahafo. The Ahafo one is the biggest now. They are building a 3rd one just north of Ahafo, south. So that's about 30 kilometers. It will be commissioned next year, June. If you put these 2 together, that corridor alone is about 1 million ounces, and today's price is about 2.5 billion. Now, Newmont just last year, around this time, took $13.8 billion to go and buy Newcrest of Australia. Newcrest is the biggest gold mining company in Australia. Now, our total exports, the whole of Ghana last year, according to Bank of Ghana, is about 13.6. So that means that Newmont spent $200 million more than even our total exports from, is it non-traditional export, nutmeg, whatever, gold, everything together. So that is the kind of reality we are facing. So for us, training and expertise is everything. They have a huge underground mine in Ahafo. I can arrange a visit if it's convenient for members for you to go and see it, provided you can have the courage to go underground. And for us, or for somebody like me, it would be a shame that an inspector, whether for ventilation or mechanical, especially in the face of AI and all these, mechanical stuff that has been introduced. If you go underground, whether Obuasi or Subika or Wasa, inspector, the first thing you should be able to do when you enter a mine is to potentially spot an accident or identify a potential health and safety hazard. If you are not able to do that, what it simply means is that you become a laughing stock. You create an environment where the mine managers and the engineers there, they will not only laugh at you, but then they can just do anything. The next thing is that there are accidents. Then we'll set up committee of inquiries upon committee of inquiry. So we spend a lot of resources to train our people. We take them to the best. We've also introduced a new strategy. My time, when you go and study, within a month, maximum a month, you have to come back. I study mining law in UK and Canada. But for the last 2-3 years, what we do is that when our inspectors finish their program, a lot of them are on scholarship. Some are 100%, some are 50%, some are 25%. Where it's not 100%, we pay the rest. We let you stay and work in the mine. So I'll give you a few examples. So you take the gentleman who has a TACWA office. He completed New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. There are about 6 of them. They graduated in May. They are working at Nevada Gold Mines, which is the biggest gold complex in the world, underground. Same for the Kenyasi lady, Sandra. Same for Akwe in Australia. They work in the mines, for 2-3 years. And, Chair, I know your question will be, what if they don't come back? They come back. As I speak, 6 have come back. The Bibiani officer came back from Campbell School of Mines in UK. The guy in Obuasi, Victor Achu, is back. Collins is coming in December. And then Nisi is also back. So 6 are already back. And more will be coming next year. So in the next 2, 3, 4 years, you find inspectors who are not only knowledgeable or well exposed, but they have been trained in mines that even the engineers at the mines we have now will envy us. So capacity-wise, I say we are okay. Chair, I was just listening to the news this morning, and I heard one of the radio stations talking about capacity, we are understaffed. It's not the case. In fact, I heard somebody even saying that our 7 inspectors were dismissed. It was not the case. I remember that story very well. When Honorable Amewu went to the field and he saw 1 or 2 things, but you see, you don't just dismiss public officials like that. So in terms of resources for training, in terms of resources to hire more people, we are okay. Let me even take the opportunity and praise my Mines and Energy Committee. Now I hear there's a split. They lifted our cap for us. My time we were capped. You can't spend below a certain portion. But we are now, because of this explanation that was given, even as far back as that time, Parliament lifted the cap totally for us. So we bring our budget and we spend everything. We are not restricted. So it's not as if you collect 10 cedis, they will say spend 8 cedis. So that is it. We are hiring more inspectors and so that we'll be on the ground. Our challenges, I'll discuss them as you submit. We raise more questions. So resource-wise, I'll say we are okay. Enough to hire more engineers, enough to buy cars. Let me sum up by saying that as we speak, this year alone, construction 10. For instance, we are building an 8-story building in Kumasi. If you've been to Kumasi of late, just by the Ratri Park, there's a very high story building there, 8-story. I'm told it's the highest. You can see it if you're at Lancaster. That's a historic building. It comes with a modern lab. The only lab, again, is a shame until recently. I'm just speaking to the resourcefulness of the commission. We used to have only one lab in Kumasi as I speak to you. In Takoradi. But we are building another lab. So the Kumasi building comes with a lab. What is the reason? There are 4 major operations that will be run from Kumasi. Newmont Ahafo, currently, Ahafo North, Asanko and Obuasi Mine. We have a regional office though, but if you look at it, it's a laughing stock. That project may be commissioned sometime in November this year. That's a big building. It comes with all the state-of-the-art facilities. The other one is the one in Tamale. In fact, it's the most iconic building in Tamale. That is 5-story. It will be commissioned sometime in November this year. We're going to put a lot of inspectors there as we are getting ready for Kaduna, which will be commissioned again in November. By far, it will be our 3rd biggest mine after Newmont, Subika, and Takwa. So that's number 2. Achimda was commissioned on 5th June. Bibiani was commissioned 18th recently. So that takes our tally to 4. We are building a new regional office in Upper East. But we have a new one which was recently refurbished by the World Bank and the Landscape Restoration Project. It's quite a beautiful place. So 2 things are happening in Bolga or Upper East because of the spread of mining. Apart from Kaduna, you take Sapeliga, Boku West, all that stretch, it's all mining activities ongoing. Then, as I said, Takwa, we've just handed over to the construction site, but Takwa will be ready next year, even though we have an office. Then we are between Accra and Koforidua, which is a region. That whole stretch, there's no office there. So we are putting a district office in Chebi to handle Osino, Fantiakwa South, and all that place. Other than that, currently the officers will have to be coming from Achimoda and being supported by Koforidua and some from the Accra office. So that is also the other number that I have to talk about. So to repeat, Achimoda, Bibiani, Takwa, Bolga, Wa, Bole, which is a Savannah regional office. And then I've also mentioned Chebi, and then Tamale office, and Co. But 6 will be ready this year. Achimoda and Bibiani are gone. Tamale will be ready. Kumasi will be ready. Most likely, Bole, which is a regional office for Savannah, will be ready. And then Daman will also be ready. In that western region corridor, we have office in Prestia being rehabilitated by the landscape project now. Then we have office in Daman. There's a huge mine there, Aboso Goldfields. And then the regional office is being built in Takwa. That is it. So these are the 10 lineup for this year. Next year, more will come. So for instance, we've been given 2 plots of land by the assembly. More often than not, the land is given to us by the chiefs or the assembly, or they give us a place for us to stay quickly. So we intend to put up an office in Salt Pond because of the lithium. It will take 22 months to complete, but our office will be ready before then. And then there are some 3 years in Volta region where we've also planned to put up offices. I think the south because of San Winnie, and then in Pasa area too, and then Wasa Akropong. So these are the ones that are planned for next year. So hopefully next year by this time, I think we'll be adding about, this 10 will be ready. As I said, 2 are already ready. So these are the expansions that are taking place. And Chair, it's not as if you say there are no offices there. We are holed up in some 2-3 rooms just to make sure life goes on, because you see, the miners will not wait for you. So quickly, when things pick up, we deploy the mining engineers, get some offices in some of the decentralized departments, and then with time, we put up offices. So that's what is happening now. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We'll start with Honorable B.T. Baba.
Thank you very much. You mentioned the establishment of new offices, and you mentioned Bongo as one. You have the regional office in Bolga and the district office in Bolga. May I know the reason why in Talisi, where you have acknowledged that At least Cardinal is one of the largest companies springing up. There is no district office in Talisi.
Chair, that is one of the issues that we are considering for next year. So for now, you see, respect to the honorable member, Cardinal is just about 30 minutes from Borga. So all the inspectors that are already there to prepare for Cardinal will be housed in Tamale and Borga. And then we'll start a construction of office for Talensi next year. So that is one of the ones that we are going to add next year. That one, and then the Salt Pond one. But because of the mine, Upper East is now a region. So most of the inspectors, as we anticipate the commission in November, will be based on Borga and Tamale before we finish the construction of the Talensi district office. And the model office that we use for Bibian and Akimoda is the same type we put in Talensi. So rest assured that is coming. But for now, you are being handled by the Borga office and Tamale.
To the best of my knowledge, some of them have not started, but you've considered them for district, which looks very unfair for Talisi, because the Talisi mines, way back during the era of President Rawlings, that these small-scale miners who were displaced by Anglo-Gold Ashanti and other places had to migrate there. And that was done, the exploration was done by government, and people were settled there. So it's long overdue, and I thought that should have been the immediate consideration. Now that you have got 2 large-scale mining companies coming up, and a third is in the offering. And also the problems that are associated with one of them, Shanji, has not been addressed. And that is because it takes a long time for your inspectors to be able to go to site and to assess the problem. How will this be reversed? Because it is a perennial source of tension in the area. People have lost their lives, people have lost their livelihood, and still there's no even compensation, which is even inadequate to the people.
Chair, as I said, because of the new mines that have come up in the Upper East region, that is why Borga has been elevated to a regional office. We have officers, actually, Bane is where we intend to put the office. Yes. Bane, I've been working with the paramount chief. Yes. And let me say that it is on one of the ones that are being considered for next year. On the issue of the small scale, Chair, I'll say a few things, but then I'll sit with honorable member to explain a few things to him, because I can spend the whole day here. The compensation has been paid. And then also, what happened was that many of the small-scale people sometimes get involved in illegal money. If you remember, Chair, and then Honorable B.T. Baba, last year some people died because they went, they normally create their own holes, go there, and they went there. And then when the companies blast, they rush in there to, let's say, to go and pick the ore body. And then they get engulfed by the fumes and then the smoke, and that's what led to that death. So I think the regional minister who was in charge of RESEC organized everything and sealed it. Recently, we had information that they are still going there again. We find alternative places. Typically, what happens is that when these things happen, we find alternative places and we license them. So those are the things we are doing. But let me just say that I don't know the word to use. Some of the mines are just difficult. There are some people, no matter what you do, they will still do the wrong thing. So if you recall, was it early part of this year where some illegal miners entered Obuasi underground? What alarmed everybody, including the whole world. That has been resolved now because the company has given us a place. To be honest with you, if there is any company that we have to be grateful for, it is Obuasi. They gave 70% of their land. We licensed them. They've taken it, yet they still find time and still go and enter the mine. So I'll sit with you and go through the compensation package. Those who have been compensated, those who have not been compensated, and then how we are addressing the problem. I will find time and come and see you and then resolve that. But compensation has been paid. Yet some still find it a way to go around the problem. In fact, recently, the underground of El International was flooded because some of the miners went behind the scene again to go and then dig around it. And I think the regional minister is taking steps to seal all those things.
Then I want to suggest that the Obuasi model, where you have been able to resettle those who were previously mining in those areas, if that of Talisi will also be accelerated so that it will bring to finality this kind of perennial confrontation. The place is full of gold. It's the whole place. Talisi is sitting on gold, and it has become the hotbed now. In fact, from the briefing that we received from the regional minister when one of the committees, that is the Committee of Poverty Reduction, which is no more in existence in Parliament, visited the region, he gave a presentation and emphasized that it is the hotbed now because several companies are rushing there. The youth also were having their source of livelihood from the mines. Now that there is this problem, at least just look at what was done in Obuasi. And this is not the first time in Obuasi. Several years ago, they moved them. Anglo Gold gave them a place where they could go, and then there was peace. Until quite recently, it has happened again. So let's look at the best practice that can minimize this kind of tension in mining areas, especially in Talisi.
We'll take that as recommendations coming from Honorable Betty Baba. So, Honorable Yadom, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to ask the CEO, can you tell this committee the criteria that the Mineral Commission uses to evaluate application for licenses? Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, by way of education, there are any authorization, approval, howsoever described, for anybody to engage in a mining activity as per this law. I have a soft copy I'll share with Madam Jiage, then they can put it on your platform. It's called a mineral right. So in our law, when we say a mineral right, it is that authorization or approval that has been granted by the minister acting on the recommendation of the minister or on the Minerals Commission for anybody to explore or mine. So generally it's called a mineral right. Now under that, there are two categories. It is either for large scale or small scale. And then for large scale, two things can happen. You're either giving a mineral right to explore or a mineral right to mine. In the exploration category, there are two: reconnaissance license and prospecting license. Reconnaissance license is not that common. Barely, I don't think we even have about 10 in Ghana today. It's a year, and then after 2 years, you have to convert. It's not intrusive. You are not allowed to drill, pit, or do anything intrusive. Just some area survey, perhaps some street sediments. It's not giving more than 2 years. I don't think we have more than 6 countries in Africa doing that. So that's a reconnaissance license. The real exploratory work comes under prospecting license. That is given for 3 years, renewable. Subject the renewal is based on having met the requirements during the initial term. So under the large scale, we have prospecting and reconnaissance. Those are all exploratory. Then you have the mining lease. A mining lease can be granted from any period from, if you like, shall I say 1 day to maximum 30 years. The number of years that will be given to an applicant depends on what you tell us in your feasibility. So if you submit a feasibility to the Minerals Commission and say, I found 1 million ounces, I want to mine 100,000 ounces a year. In other words, that's about what? A million. So it means we'll give you, let's say, 12 years. Because we normally add 2 or 3 years for reclamation. So we'll give you 12 years. If you say you found 2 million ounces, you want to mine, let's say, 200,000, we'll give you that. If you found 30 million ounces, you want to mine 1 million ounces a year, that means we'll give you 30 years. And then when the time is coming, you have to renew. So that is that. Then the second category is a small-scale license. Small-scale, there's nothing like exploration. The state will have to do the exploration for you. And that's where I'll speak to that challenge when I come to the challenges we are having. If I sit here and tell you that all is well, I'm lying to you. I won't do that. So basically, those are the two categories of mineral rights. Large scale, small scale, and then you have the reconnaissance and prospecting and mining lease, and then what do you call it, small scale mining license. So that is it. And there's only one small scale mining license, that's all. Beyond this, there are other permits or special permits that we also give. I mean, the Chief Inspector of Mines or the Minister instructing us can do that. So, for instance, if you want to construct a road, let's say a 100-kilometer road or 50-kilometer road, and then there's something we call project quarry. They would need the rock aggregates for the road. So that one like that, the contractor, either through Ministry of Roads and Highways or the urban roads or whatever, can apply, and then we'll give you a special permit that gives you the right to go and break up those rocks for the road. We do that a lot. So, for example, this motorway they are constructing, if they should site a quarry anywhere, they can come to us, we do the inspection and give a special permit. Sometimes we call it burrow pits too. They want to take some gravels. So apart from these traditional licenses as espoused in our law, special permits or rights may be given by the Minerals Commission for certain special types of projects. Or a chief may come to you, like recently, the chief in one of the years in Peki, where my mom came from, he says, I want to build my palace. I don't need license, but I've found some gravel and sand. You see, when they start going there, our inspectors will go and take the police and arrest them. Because that gravel or sand you are taking, you are winning. So that one like this will ask you, come, we'll give you a special permit, solely for you to allow you to win the sand and gravel for your palace. We do that a lot. So those are the special arrangements we normally have for special types of projects and stuff of that nature. So basically, those are the type of permits and rights that we have. Then you have to go for the EPA one. And also, depending on the type of mineral right, you have to come to this or guest house for ratification. And that one is clear. I think Article 268 or so. Any transaction that is for extraction or exploitation, you come to Parliament. So we don't bring prospecting and all those ones, except the leases. That is basically how the law works.
It's a follow-up question. Thank you. With the explanation, we found out that two categories, that's the small scale and then the large scale. Now, can you tell this committee who are those entitled for the small scale and then the large scale?
Chair, thank you very much. The small scale is open to Ghanaians only. So any foreigner who is involved in small scale is illegal. In fact, if you look at 900 and 995, it's even so stringent. It even goes ahead and says that anybody who, solicits the help of a foreigner to engage in small scale amounts to illegal mining. So it is strictly for Ghanaians, either a man or woman or, an adult. That's all. We don't allow foreigners. In fact, we don't even allow foreigners to provide support services for small scale. Strictly a Ghanaian thing. And that is it. The large scale is open to everybody. Whether foreigners or any of you here can come to the commission and apply for large scale. The requirements for small scale is not as stringent as large scale. Small scale, all that you need is to be a Ghanaian or sound mind. And then Either you go and find a place in a block-out area, or through your own efforts, you bring your coordinates, we plot for if it's available. We do the inspection, and then we process it for you. We don't ask for financial and technical capacity. Large scale, we do. Large scale, before you can be granted a large scale license, you need to demonstrate your financial capacity, and that you also have the technical capacity to undertake the operation, submit a work program, feasibility, and all that. Those things, we don't allow it in small scale. And small scale activities are taking place in about 12, 13 regions in Ghana. When I joined commission, it was just 5 regions: Ashanti, Central, Eastern, Western, which included or covered Western North, and Upper East, Honorable BT Baba's area. In fact, it's been there for ages. These are the 5 regions. And we passed the small-scale gold law, 1989. That's about 35 years ago. And even passed the mercury law, but not the way we are supposed to use it today. And also the PMC law, 219. So 217, 219, 218 were passed to regulate small scale. And then we created offices. Dumkwa, Bibiani, Takwa, and then Boga offices were created. That time, so I'm basically delving into our biggest challenge now. And Chair, I'll be very blunt with the committee. Until that problem is resolved, Galamsey will not end. I will explain. When I explain, you understand. So 1986, Professor Akil Akpa Sawyer, he's still alive. He was a board chair of the Minerals Commission. The CEO was Mr. Kofi Ansan. Both are alive. Because you see, right from the colonial era, throughout, all the way in Nkrumah, all the way to the PNC era, you can't do small scale lawfully. So when we sold off the state-owned mines and Akwesi Boche, because we badly mismanaged, and that's like Gihog, Ghana and Co., we sold Takwa. So sometimes when people say that, oh, we don't own the mines, we've been there before. We sold Takwa, we sold Prestia, we sold Dunkwa Continental, all those mines, Akwatia, all of them. And then the World Bank and IMF at that time advised the Rawlings government that, look, all your gold and your diamonds are in Togo. So why don't you allow people to do it lawfully? That's how come. Other than that, what diamond is produced in Togo or gold? So quickly we passed the small-scale gold law, 1989. Passed the mercury law to allow them to use mercury. That time they used to have a mercury retort. So they had a way of capturing it. And then we passed PMC so that when you buy, you can have licensed buyers. They advised, and then we created district offices in these 5 regions. The persons in small scale were barely 100,000 people. The advice at that time was, from Minerals Commission, was that give money to Geological Survey Authority, which has the expertise to explore areas we have designated as block-out areas. They are still there, respectively, chairman and committee members. Block-out areas. Explore them. And then we'll give it to the small-scale miners. Because the large-scale people do their own exploration. So, Chair, for 30 years, 3 decades, government after government did not do it. I remember then, a young lawyer at Minerals Commission, when we make this, they will tell us, oh, we have guinea worm. In fact, it even got worse when we say, oh, the chances of success for exploration is barely 5%. Then they said, no, we have schools under trees, we have guinea worm, we have this, we have this, we have that. So, we will not do it. So, since 1989, we've not been doing exploration. So, if you ask me, as an officer of the Minerals Commission, 2nd April 2002, being in the place for 22.5 years now, the fundamental cause of illegal mining, or Galamsey, and please respectfully hear me out. I'll give you about 5 more causes of Galamsey, but the main problem that is driving illegal mining is getting a place for the miners to work. Until that is resolved, we only go around in circles. So then I believe the question then is, how are we getting a place for them to work? 4 ways. 1, through the graciousness of the large-scale people. So, Anglo-Good Ashanti, Newmont, Go Foods and Co. give us a place, we license it for them. That's what we've been doing. Number 2, persons whose licenses have been cancelled for want of performance, we give it to them. Number 3, where by law, when you are giving an area to explore, let's say if you are giving 30 square kilometers and you are supposed to explore, after 3 years, you are supposed to give half back to government or back to the Minerals Commission, yes. So when those ones are returned, they come with what we call a surrender report. We give it back to the small-scale people. Then the last one is where some of the large-scale people come to us and say, oh, we've done a lot of exploration. We want it very big. So Minerals Commission, take it and give it out. Then quickly we block it, designate and give it out. Like for example, Pesos Mining, they have approached us. We're giving it out. So these are the areas. And just about 3, 4, 5 years ago, we've started exploration on our own. So Minerals Commission has been giving money to geological survey. We have the Bonfa block. We've given some money to go UMAT and geological survey. It's in our budget. Parliament approved it for us, and they are doing the exploration now. Chair and members of this committee, it will take time. That is our biggest headache. So this issue about equipment and co, it's our biggest headache. It's getting a place. The issue is not about equipment and all those. It's getting a place for them. So when we didn't take these 100,000, 5 regions thing seriously, we have ended up with 13 regions now, 3 million. So that is the biggest challenge that as a nation we have to address. I won't hide it. Until we spend money. And at least, Chair, let me say that for once, all the political parties have been listening to us, because I heard the Vice President saying that when they commission gold refining, that he has committed to making available the equivalent of $10 million to geological survey. I've also read the NDC manifesto, which is also saying that we will resource geological survey. What is the bottom line to make resources available to explore all these areas? We're talking about 3 million livelihoods in 13 regions. And Chair, give me 2 seconds to explain how the livelihood conundrum is. So you go to a typical Galamsey site or a small scale site, and please understand me, there's a difference between small scale and Galamsey. So when I hear people saying ban Galamsey, I have a problem. As a technocrat, I have a problem, because Galamsey is illegal, it's already banned. So you go to a small scale site, whether lawful or unlawful. This is the kind of thing you see. You find those who are in the pit, if it's open pit. If it's underground like Takwa or Tinga or Bongo or the Bole area, those who are directly working there, those are the direct employees. Now, many of you don't know, there are more women in small scale than men. Yes. These 3 million we are talking about, there are more women in small scale than men. So beyond those who are directly involved in the pit, you have somebody who just gets up, cleans his teeth, and then takes his aboboya or moto, he goes to the site. Let me say this in tree, or tree load. So he goes, they mark the register, and then depending on the number of load he carries, he's paid by the close of the day. He's employed. Now, Auntie Mansa, who has mounted the food joint at the small scale site, selling all kinds of stuff there, she's there, selling. So they go to the pit, they run shift. They come and eat the banku of fufu. So she's also counted in our 3 million. Now, that woman there goes to take the cassava. And more often than not, he even takes the cassava on credit from somebody else. And that somebody else also goes to the farmer. So that is the whole chain. The farmer, the person goes to take the thing on credit. So when you raid the site, for those that are lawfully permitted, we don't have a problem. I mean, everything is fine. But when you read a typical Galamsey, this is what happens. The woman who is selling food there tells you, I've lost my livelihood. Then you hear the farmer telling you that, oh, I 2 banshee, 10 sacks. She say, cry there 1. And then she's also told, because they have gone to destroy that site. And then the other aspect too is that the person who also takes his bicycle or his motorbike and goes and pick the load. Also says that I've also lost my livelihood. So that's the whole scenario here. That's how it works. So normally what we do is this. Once the district officer of Minerals Commission goes around and picks an illegal, in fact, Honorable, when you tap a district officer and wake him up from sleep, and you say there's illegal mining going up in job 600, there's mining going on in job 600, he can tell you straight away that it's illegal mining. Because it's a district mining officer of the Minerals Commission that does the inspection. He will tell you that, oh, where I did the inspection with license is this place, not that place. So what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to write a report and give it to the assembly. And tell the assembly that on my rounds, I found this activity is illegal because we are not in charge of security. So the district chief executive or MUSEC is supposed to mobilize and go and clamp down on that activity. That's how the architecture works. That's how it's supposed to happen. In some areas, even the officer cannot go because the people are armed. Honorable Chair and members, you remember early part of this year, was it last year, where some policeman was kind of humiliated by some miners? You saw they were well armed. I think after some time they caught him. So respectfully, my officer in Konongo or Enchi, or let's say Bane, how do you expect him to go to an area where the miners, let's say, are armed? Because these Chinese people are you know, they're armed. What do you expect him to do? So I'll give you the best example, which I said on Metro TV, the Konongo one, where they dug close to the road. You all saw it. The district officer, Asem, went around, picked it, and reported that he's gone around, he saw this, is illegal, because Minerals Commission did not permit it. They don't have any authorization or approval, not even a special permit. So it's illegal. It was reported to the assembly. Chair, once the Minerals Commission officer reports to the assembly, his job has ended. He's free of that responsibility. The next thing is the district assembly to go there, mobilize the needed resources, and clamp down. Occasionally, they take the risks and do it, but I've been telling them be careful because I don't want them to lose their life. So that is how the system works. So sometimes when we are blamed, I'm not backpassing. If you want to take me on enforcement and compliance, I'll take responsibility. That Martin, this is a license operation. We don't think they are following the law. I will take responsibility. I'll be the first to admit that, yes, perhaps there has been laxity here, we got it all wrong or something. I will take responsibility. But where the officer has reported to, let's say, the district assembly in that particular district that this is illegal, go and clamp them down, and they don't act, it will be difficult to blame the Minerals Commission. So these are some of the things that I want you to understand, or the challenges that we have. More often than not, every report of the district officer, and I can share examples if you want. There's nothing confidential about this because I've taken oath. Where the district officer thinks that, per what he saw, it is appropriate to license them, he reports. So recently, Busa, North and South, I think Honorable Agaga's place, that area, the officer went there, and then he realized that they are doing, like we say, koli. And it's underground. That's the beauty about the North. Other than that, we'll have had serious challenges. The beauty about the small-scale stuff in the North is that the bulk of, maybe God bless them, is the nature of the ore body. Because it is not for anybody to say, force them to go underground. No. So when I hear people saying, oh, we force the miners to do underground, that is wrong. Because you see, if the ore body is deep-seated, like 300 meters or down there, you can only do it by underground. Or you can only mine the open pit. With time, you can go underground. So that is typically what happens. He went there, he saw it. In the report he has presented to me, he says, boss, I think we should formalize them. Because it's not by a water body, it's underground. So I asked him, move quickly. Let's get them a good catcher. We still have some. And let them start work. Chair, this is a problem. You see what they are doing there? I think they have 100 or 200 working there. They go underground, so they are not intrusive. They go down there, like if you've been to Tinga and Dakupe, and it will be nice for you to visit some of these stuff. I can arrange. For you to just appreciate the kind of thing they do, they just go underground, go and bring it, and then mills or crashes. Now, typically, where they are not regulated, like the Kandema and Fusi thing that has been reported, most likely you may have an accident. You may. Okay? Because underground ventilation is everything. If for the past 6-10 years they've not had an accident, we pray to our God. But if you decide to formalize, then what it simply means is that they will be properly trained. You help them build a ventilation system. You get them appropriate attire and co, and then they will just do their work like the way folks do it in Takwa. So that one like this, I will not advise we drive them away. That one like this, can I get my bag? I'm holding in my hand. I'll share the soft copy. An operational manual that was developed by the Minerals Commission as far back as 2000. I'll provide more copies for members. I have it in soft too. Operational manual that was developed by the Minerals Commission. So if you look at the heading, it says small scale and community mining, operational manual. Everything that is supposed to regulate how small scale is conducted is in there. Typically, Chair, it's not easy to tell those 200 people at Fumbisi or Kandema. Sometimes we tell them, stop work. You see, the moment you tell them that we are coming to give you license or formalize you, it's hallelujah, they will stop work immediately. They will stop. Because, you see, what they wanted to hear is what you have told them. You give us license. Sometimes they will tell you, look, we want to take advantage of a good price. So if you want to wait to have everything in place, the price may collapse or it will pass by us. So the Fumbisi and Kanema team, for example, what we can do is to quickly give them Go Kacha, one, to stop them from using mercury. They may not have all those structures in place, you know, control, gold room, and all those is in place for now. So that one like this, we don't mind, for instance, to give them a gold catcher so that quickly they stop using mercury. And then the officers will be visiting them whilst we work on their documentation, then they are working. But if you want to wait for them to meet all the requirements here, that means that minimum it will take like 6 months for them to put all their structures as per this, what do you call it, operational manual. So that's one of the things that Minerals Commission is doing. How do you meet them halfway? Because it's like you're unemployed, respectfully, Chair, you're unemployed. Your 6-year-old child must eat. He has to carry money to school. It's either you go and borrow, or of course I'm not saying you should go and steal. Because you can't look in, you can decide not to eat or eat once a day, but your child must eat. So some of the challenges we are faced with that, do we wait for them to meet all the requirements in the manual, or do I move quickly, give them the good culture, at least stop the use of mercury, and let them start working, and then the officers visit them, and they give them time to complete their structures? This is what I have advised government, and this is what I'm pursuing. Because if you want to wait, you are not going to get them sponsored, go and look for money for them. And the illegality will still persist. So I have taken the trouble, and I've also advised my minister that, look, where these things are ongoing and my officer is convinced that we should formalize it for them, let's be a bit flexible and let them start and be advising them. Because at least the inspector is visiting them, you are advising them, do it safely, get a good catcher. So we are beginning to do that now, and I'll do it for the Fumbisi and Kandema area. So these are some of the steps that we are taking to get these things formalized. Chair, let me also say this. I may have to repeat it here, even though government has come out already. You see, if you look at what is going on in Takwa, now Kandema and Fumbisi, and then Tinga and Dakrupe, where they just go underground. And the underground, the hole could just be just around this table, not far from where Sister Jiagi and this cameraman is. They just go underground, go and bring the ore body, crash it. Sometimes we sink borehole for them, like the Bongo people, we suck the borehole for them. and then we give them gold catcher. So when you say ban small-scale mining, Chair, this is my understanding. It means that don't allow anybody to do it lawfully. I understand the situation and the backlash from Ghanaians. Oh, stop it all together and reset, or pause or whatever. Then the guy in Tinga, the guy in Dakupe who has sunk a borehole, who has spent money to sink a shaft, he says, hang on, I am not by the white water or Pra or Ankobra. Why do you want to, Chair, if you permit me, punish me because folks along the Pra, Brim and Co are misbehaving? Why don't you go and deal with that problem and let me do my work lawfully? Those are the issues we are faced with. So I advise government, and I told my minister that it will not be proper for us to have a wholesale ban. That's number one. On the grounds that a lot of them are, I mean, the whole of Takwa is underground mining. There's a video I've given to Sister Jiagi. If you have time, we can play it. And I will advise strongly, I take you there. It's a site owned by a group of people. It's a typical community mining site. Chair, I'm not lying to you. There are 5,000 workers there. They have their license, they have their environmental permit, purely underground operation. Maybe we can show 5-10 minutes of it, not the whole, because the whole clip starts from Galamsey, the anger and all those things to the formalization. Maybe we'll show the formalization part, and you see 5,000. So the moment you say we are banning small-scale mining, not Galamsey, because Galamsey is banned, it means they are asking 5,000 people in Takwa not to work, punishing them for something that is not their fault. So this is some of the conundrum that we face. Other than that, our biggest headache is getting a place for them to work. Chair, it will take time. We need to make funds available to geological survey. We have started. It will take some 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get all these millions of people a place to work. Other than that, for now, those 4 things that I explained, I think you went to the washroom or so. Companies graciously giving us areas. Income licenses that have been cancelled, we're giving out to small-scale people. The large-scale people who said, oh, we found a place, but we want it very big. So Mincom, take it and license. And also, the sheer miners coming to us. So somebody from Bongo or BT Babes Space, Honorable BT Babes, and say, oh, this is my coordinates. We check in the cadastre. If it's available, it's not by water body, whatever, we process it and we do it for them. So right now, that's what we are doing. So what is causing the Galamsey is this trial and error. And now it has been worsened by the problem in Burkina Faso. Because many of the people in the water area are these Togolese and Burkina Faso people. But anywhere you go, you find small-scale cyanide. Trust me, the technology is from Burkina Faso. Because our people, our star is a mercury thing. So the Burkina Faso have brought what they call this, they call it PPPP, okay? So they are holding it. So, Chair, they just move around the community. So when you hear Ke, it means that, oh, there are traces of gold there. They bring the excavator, they destroy the place. So the solution to illegal mining, if you ask me, 99% is geological investigation of all these thousands of acres of block areas that Minerals Commission has designated. So it will take time for us to deal with the problem. But we can't make apologies for the million look-alike, Pra, Brim, and the water body. Because that one you can't make an apology. It is illegal. So we just have to get rid of them. That's not my job. My job is not to go into the water body and take people out. That's not my job. My job is to bring it to the attention of the appropriate security authorities that these activities has not been sanctioned by Minerals Commission. Go get them out. Because my officer is not supposed to swim and go to the Brim and go and evict them. Here, it is the security people that must do that, not Minerals Commission. And Chair, how do you have illegal mining taking place behind a police station? Anyinam. The Minerals Commission officer has reported several times. So sometimes we get blamed for something that is not our fault. But as I said, if you pick any evidence or semblance of a licensed area where things are not being brought properly, I'll be the first to stand before the committee and for that matter, the whole Ghana, and apologize and say, look, we fell short here. We'll do our work properly. or things like that. So where we must take blame, we will take blame. But you can't blame an officer of the Minerals Commission where somebody dies close by the roadside, especially when he has reported to the assembly. His job ends once he reports that, look, I've seen this is illegal, go and clamp down on them. He cannot go and evict those people. It's not our job. Thank you very much. Chair, illegalities, as far as what is annoying all of us, the 34 million Ghanaians, including persons unborn, comes from two categories. And I'll be honest with members here. Persons who don't have the requisite authorizations, approvals, howsoever described, who are going there and doing what they don't have the authority to do. In other words, you've not been permitted to do it. So, for example, you get into the forest, you are not licensed, and you are doing it. That is one. By far, that is what is common. And two, Chair, I'll be sitting here and lying to you to say that persons who have not been licensed, some of them have not fallen foul of the law. So the illegality comes from two sources. Some people who have been given license and have strayed. That is true. And then those who don't have any license and they are also working. That is wrong. Chair, a few things here. Like Honorable Dafiamopo said, if there's anything, Mincom rather need resources, which I'm getting anyway, nobody can say it's enough. Resources, tools, and resources to make us more efficient. That's a fact. But you see, he referred to, his first question was, persons who are working illegally. Is it not our duty to assist the security agencies to stop them? Chair, there are two things happening here. One, licenses are not issued to anybody to mine in a water body. So in the first place, anybody who goes to the water body to go and mine is engaged in a criminal activity. We need to be clear about that. He's engaged in a criminal activity. If we have to give any special permit for anybody to do anything in a water body, it's what we do for VRA. That from time to time they come for this special permit to dredge the estuary to allow these water snails that host the Behaziah parasite to go away. We do that, and that's a proper thing. Outside that, there's no way we'll tell you, we'll give you a license to go and mine a mineral in a water body. We don't do that. So anybody who gets into the water body is involved in illegality. Now, Chair, through the Chair, Honorable Dafiamepo, so when somebody gets up and enters the brim, and typically they go in the night, you know, like 11, 10 there, and then by 4 a.m. they file out. They go into the night. Once the Minerals Commission makes it known to the appropriate security agencies that this person, you know, people are working here at night and all those things, our job ends there. So I struggle a little bit when we are, again, I use a Konongo example. So the District Officer of Minerals Commission goes around. That is his job. Go around and monitor operations. Ensure that persons that have been licensed follow the law. Some do breach, and it's his duty to exert the appropriate punishment. Okay? And then he chanced upon an activity or an area where people are mining. There are two things he will do. Like the Konongo one that is by the roadside. He reported to the Adisis Assembly and said that, I have found this activity. It is close to the road. We have not licensed it. So you are bringing it to your attention to take action. So Honorable Dafiamepo, like you said, that is the role of the commission. He's informed the District Assembly. So what the District Assembly is supposed to do is to organize the appropriate security, go and stop that activity. As head of DICEC. You understand? As head of DICEC. If we have to like seek for more powers, like you are saying, to bear arms and all those things, then government police will have to change, and that will be too much for us. I mean, look at the number of water bodies in this country. And respectfully, forestry people bear arms. So how are people entering the forest to do what they are doing where they don't have a license? It is different if people have not got all the license, they've entered the forest. So I will not ask government give us powers to go and bear arms and all those things. And then one more example, we have reported severally that behind Anyinam Police Station, people are doing stuff there which we have not permitted. So how come that the police is not taking action?
To assist CEO. CEO, you see, I've been privileged to serve on the Public Accounts Committee. And so the auditor, as part of his annual audit, sometimes flag some of these issues. So they come before us. You'll be surprised to hear that the Forestry Commission is also complaining that when they confront these persons and entities deep within their forest cover, they are able to exhibit licenses supposedly emanating from your commission, permitting them to engage in the activity. So what do they do? So I'm just trying to bring these matters to your attention that whilst you seek to rely on the Forestry Commission and other service, security services to help you enforce and be more effective in the performance of your functions under the law, there appears to be a lacuna. That is why I think that if you ask for enhanced powers, then all of you could be operating in a coordinated manner to dealing with the matter, so that when a prospective Galamsey is found at dead of night, like you indicated, in a certain, let's say close to a riverbed, with the excavator and all those machinery about to operate, then it cannot be saying that you granted him the license, because the forestry officer is unable to determine whether the license granted, the cadastral map, covers the area where it's been located immediately or not. It takes a bit of days. By the time they come back, the degradation has been done, and the cost is lost.
I'm very happy you, Honorable Dafemeko, asked this question. Let me explain the forestry thing. Then I'll go back to the other one so that I can close the chapter on your first question and deal with the other two. Chair, for anybody to work lawfully in a forest reserve, to explore and mine, these are the approvals a person is required. You need a mineral right, a license. You have to have that. You need a forestry entry permit. That is given by the Forestry Commission. Forestry, you must give you an entry permit. That you must have a forestry entry permit. Then you have to have EPA permit. You have to go through a certain rigor. They work with the Forestry Commission on that. Then apart from that, and in any case, EPA sits on our licensing committee. EPA and Lands Commission sits on that. So you need a license properly so-called. You might have obtained your forestry permit. You must have EPA permit. Then apart from that, you need an arrangement with Forestry Commission and say that if I destroy the size of this respectful meeting room, maybe I'm going to replant 3-4 times. That's the kind of thing Newmont has in Achim. That's the kind of thing Chirano has. That's the kind of thing Ghana Boss I see in 1941 has. So I am not passing the buck, and that's not my nature. Yes, so I'm coming to answer your question. So if somebody shows up with a license in the forest, maybe the one Honorable Suhini and maybe Honorable Okujetu constantly raise about, and Forestry Commission says that, listen carefully, respectfully, Forestry Commission says that he is having Minas Commission license, then respectfully, that Forestry Commission officer is failing us. Because for him to allow that activity, it means that they should have given him a forestry entry permit. And forestry entry permit is not even enough. When the person must have had EPA. So did he show him EPA? Did he show him forestry entry permit from his own boss? And in any case, has he showed him that formal arrangement to replant and all those things? So if the Forestry Commission says that, oh, he's holding a license signed by the Minister and the Commission of Minerals Commission, so we are helpless, he has failed us. Because his entry permit must even allow that activity in the first place. The person must show, so even if somebody has a license showing that, oh, I'm holding this license 16 kilometers square, that allows me to explore mine, draw forest river, or any forest reserve in Ghana, okay, for the person to work lawfully, all the other permits must have been granted. And even if it is a mining lease, it should even be ratified, like Newmont and Co. So if all the approval, even if the 10 approvals are required and he has 9, he has not got 1, because of the sensitive nature of the forest, if he goes there to do anything, that is illegal mining. So all those people who are displaying Minerals Commission or licenses, signed by the minister, and they have not got all the other authorization, anything that they indulge in is Galamsey. So that forestry officer who tells you that, oh, he has flagged a license, and that's why we allow him, or that is enjoying, then it means he has not done his work well. Where is his own forestry permit? Where is the EPA one? And if it's a lease, where is the ratification? You see? So all those people who are showing licenses that they have the right to mine the forest, the right is not completed because all the other authorizations have not been granted yet. So that is the explanation for the forestry one. But then, let's come back to the other one. So those guys that Minerals Commission has brought to the attention of MUSEC or DISEC, depending on where it is. The Anyinam one, for example, that Galamsey is taking place behind the police station. So it's like we've told you Galamsey is having a job 600 proper that is behind this new block. Respectfully, Honorable Okujeto and chair of this respectful honorable committee, the Minerals Commission officer has done his work. I am not saying that we have also not let Ghana down or we are 100% right. Because I have told you that there are instances where people have had all their rights and they have made mistakes. Of course, that's why they are inspectors. So I want us to understand the forestry thing very well. If you don't have all the licenses like Newmont and all the permits, anything that you do is illegal. So you saw our position and our press releases on when Honorable Suhini and Co came out about some people having licenses and going into the forest. We came out and said, look, you need X, Y, Z in addition to what the ministers are. If you don't have that, it is Galamsey or illegal money simpliciter. And I think that clears the air. So somebody should be answering, how come that company, for example, holds a lease properly so-called, which is just one step, and he has not got forestry entry permit, or even if he has forestry entry permit, he has not got EPA, he has not got the offset and other arrangements, and he has entered. That's one aspect of the Galamsey conundrum. The other aspect is where people don't have anything and they invade. That is not for me to answer, respectfully, it's for the Forestry Commission to answer. But we, together, we go to the Newmont site, because we also need permission to enter forest reserve. We can't enter forest reserve unless you get permission from the Forestry Commission. But we are allowed, by virtue of the arrangement, to enter Newmont Achim, to enter Ghana Bauxite, to enter Chirano, to make sure that they are following the law. Occasionally, there may be slips here and there. It's up to us to correct them. Some warning, some fine, some we have to shut down and co. So the forestry thing, that's how it works. Anybody who has not got all the permits, which I've explained, is engaged in illegal mining. I don't know how else we can deal with that. So that gentleman who perhaps said that, oh, the person has flagged Minerals Commission for his mining license, and that's why they are lying, or that's why that ticket took place. Respectfully, let me say in Chi, just like if you go to a small-scale license site and there are infractions, you can hold us responsible that we've not been compliant and making sure that they follow the law. That is it.
Yeah, Honorable Chiwete. Then River Ofin. And this is the Hune River. So, Mr. Ayisi, this is what we are dealing with. It's only the Volta River that gave us a little hope. You know, even that we are hearing that it is just a matter of time, because the solar area, we are told that the White Volta is beginning to interface and defile the Volta River as well. So, Mr. Ayisi, the Ghanaian people seeing this don't expect their leaders, all of us inclusive, all of us. This one is not, we don't have to, we all have to take collective responsibility. because as Parliament, we are also approving these policies, these resource allocations, these institutions who come to report to us and justify why a certain allocation was properly utilized. We've been doing all these anti-Galamsey operations for years, which this House has approved, running into billions. And every year, we appear to be complicit somehow when we approve judicious use of the previous year's resources and then give the institutions more resources to go and stop Galamsey. And yet, this is where we are as a country. So, Mr. Ayisi, we want you to really profile new solutions. How can we stop this? How can we get all our rivers? And they are all gone. All our rivers are gone, except the Volta River, which we are told is just a matter of time. So this is the context. This is the crisis we face. And it affects all of us, whether where you are mining is not close to a river or not, whether you are not engaged in mining at all, like most of us here. We will drink water. We will buy food. Today we'll be having a lunch break.
Chair, I'll raise 4 fundamental issues, and I want members to listen carefully and then look at it from a different angle. Chair, let me repeat. Until we put money in geological investigations and adopt a more aggressive approach in investigating all these several thousands of blocks that Minerals Commission has designated as blockade areas, with the view to investigating them and then defining all bodies so that we give it out to the small-scale miners, then we should forget about the issue, because the problem will not go away. So if you ask me, one radical approach, one aggressive approach is that what we've not done well, or what we have joked with for the last 30 years, is what we have to do now. That we have to take money, give it to geological survey. I said some pilots are being done, Bonfa, Block, Dunko, and Newtown, but it's just a drop in the ocean. Looking at the 13 regions we have to...
Let me say, Ayisi, do you have an idea how much we will need for that geological survey?
Even if you ask me, anything around $10 million, you know, and the money you have to begin every year, we can even start with $5 million. See the equivalent of $5 million. $10 million, even if you use 16, that's how much? 160 million. Did I get it right? Yeah, even 100 million to geological survey. Because they have the equipment. They've gotten a new rig now. They have the equipment. And they are not the only people who can do it, apart from geological survey, which is the government explorer. And because of the sheer numbers involved, we are no longer talking about 5 regions. We are talking about 13. Even my own OT, we are beginning to see gold now. I was home just this weekend to celebrate the Yam Festival because I'm the chief of Rara. We don't have a primary chief, so as continue, you are in charge. And people are saying, oh, Nana, there's gold all over this place. My grandfather used to tell me, and my late father. And
so Nana,
my first point, radical...
Yes, we'll come to your point. Just for our record, you keep talking about the 13 regions, We need to know for our record, what are the 3 regions that are out?
Greater Accra, even though some mining takes place, because quarries are considered mining. And then the 2 regions where I come from, Volta and Odoti.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about gold, because that's a fundamental issue.
So these are the only 3
regions. Other than that, the others is all over the place.
Okay.
Yes, and the radical solution is to embark on aggressive geological investigation. Don't just rely on geological survey. There are several Ghanaian geologists who are registered to provide exploration services to Minerals Commission. Westfield, they are all over the place. Geomining, you know, they are all over the place. So we can just give some of the money to geological survey, some to geomine, and all these private people to do it. Trust me, if you release a lot of money now, in the next 6 months, you start seeing areas that we can be licensing. Because what is causing the haphazard digging? Trial your error. You dig everywhere. So for me, that's number one. We have to start it now aggressively. I'm saying government has released some funds to us for Bonfa, Dunkwa, and Newtown. Newtown as in Western region. These are being done by Geological Survey and UMAT. So the solution now is to release money aggressively to private people, exploration companies, the universities, and Geological Survey. They go out there, and all the areas we've designated already, I already know, they start exploring. 6 months, you start seeing results.
Chairman, just forgive me, I didn't intend to come in at this point, but with your permission. Mr. Ayisi said earlier that the Geological Survey already has a rig, and that it will not cost that much because of the availability of the rig if we were to invest in the Geological Survey. But then in the subsequent submissions, you are suggesting private, geological surveyors. I don't get that, drift. If the state has capacity, why have you all of a sudden, in the same breath, bringing in private developers? Private developers who, by the way, in some cases are even responsible for these troubles that we have.
Let me explain. In his summary, and then the question he posed, basically speaking the minds of 35 millions, he said, radical solution. Geological Survey has expertise, but in the situation, Honorable Senior, that we find ourselves through the chair, they can't cover the whole country within this short time for us to start releasing the blocks to these millions of people who want to work lawfully. They cannot. They have the, let me explain, please. Respectfully, they have the expertise, they have the rig, but I'm talking over several 20,000 plus square areas designated by Mincom. They cannot cover 13 regions within a short time for us to start releasing blocks for them. So I'm saying that whilst they may be investigating the place all over the areas, as a radical approach to free up more areas so that results can come out quickly, let's also bring in these seasoned Ghanaian geologists who have, registered with Mincom to also explore the other areas. Because Geological Survey cannot cover all the 16 regions within a short time, unless you want to say 5, 10, 15 years. But we are saying radical solution. So they can say, okay, we're going to do part of Ashanti, we're going to do Eastern region, we're going to do this thing. Within 6 months to 1 year, we can come out with some deposit that we can give it out to these cooperatives and small-scale miners. But if we want it quickly, we need to bring in other people to come and help. That's what I'm saying. Because we need quick results. The miners will not wait for you. So engage the other explorers. We can start with the Geological Survey, the key mining areas. We know them. Ashanti, Western, Savannah, etc. Let them start. You see, the alternative will also to hire more geologists for Geological Survey and give them more resources so that they can cover more areas. But time is of essence if the definition of radicalism is anything to go by. So identify very good, and our geologists are world class, not just Africa. Geoman, Westfield, all these Ghanaians, all the large-scale companies, exploration is being done by Ghanaians. Mineral Exploration Service and Area Reserve for Ghana. There are several of them. Then you can give them some of the resources. Let's do them. For now, it's Geological Survey and UMAT. UMAT is doing the Newtown block. The Bonfa and Dunkwa money is coming from World Bank and some small from Mincom. It's not enough. So I'm just talking about timing. Or else, Geological Survey will take a long time. And the numbers will keep going up. And you heard me a short while ago in my introductory remarks, what is even driving the craze further is a high price. To the extent that what have been dumped, what we call tailings and waste, 2-3 years ago, they are even going back to them. So, Honorable Suini, the private thing coming here is for us to quickly get more areas, deal with the huge numbers, since Geological Survey cannot cover more areas. Unless they come and tell us that, oh, maybe we have 40 geologists. If we want to cover the whole Ghana, then let's recruit 100 more geologists, which we can get because of our expertise. Then in that case, they say, okay, if we get 200 geologists, we can do the work ourselves. Can you do that with 1 or 2 rigs? I doubt. So that is my suggestion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually eager to hear the other three solutions that you will give. But I keep noticing some contradictions that I will want you to clarify before you give us the other three. And I plead that you do that, in very, very, as briefly as possible. I plead that you do that. Now, it seems to me, listening to you, that you are more focused on us issuing licenses to people who apply speedily because you think that it is a solution. But even in your submissions, you admit, or you admitted, that some of the people with licenses also engage in irresponsible mining. And an example which you refer to without mentioning the name was that Konta mining with the Tanonimrimi forest and others, who may have licenses but may engage in irresponsible mining or even go to places to mine that their licenses don't cover. So I'm wondering how licensing is automatically a problem. I mean, it is automatically a solution when the facts on the ground is actually that people with licenses have also been caught engaging in irresponsibility. So your push for, okay, let's get geological service to rapidly, map up the area so we quickly issue licenses to people as a solution makes me rather think that it is about licensing irresponsibility. Or just because people engage in irresponsibility, give them licenses to continue engaging in it, and that makes it right. I don't think it does.